We need a headstock for our guitar. Can I just draw it on here, drill some holes, hack it out with a bandsaw, and stick some tuners on it? No. It takes a little bit more planning than that. Stick around. Second episode. How about that? Had a great time on the first video, and man, the response was wonderful. I can't thank you guys enough. In our last video, we had our center line, nut width, nut position, wood support behind the nut, full length of the fretboard, the taper of the fretboard, with intonation point in all 6 string paths. That's a great start, but we need a headstock. Just like when we were starting to design the guitar, we have a list of questions that we gotta ask ourselves, and we gotta figure them out before we can keep going. What kind of headstock are we gonna do? 6 in a line or 3 on 3? For 6 in a line and for 3 on 3, we have 2 options: straight string pull and non-straight string pull. Straight string pull means from the bridge saddle all the way up the fretboard, across the nut to the side of the tuner, it's a straight line, and then it wraps around the tuner. No point does the string kink off to one side. Non-straight string pull, the string is going to come up from the bridge across the nut and then splay out to individual tuners. You can have a 3 on 3 straight string pull, but that's kind of tricky, and I'm going to show you why in just a little bit. Let's start straight 6 on a side. As we come up, I'm going to continue my string path lines past the nut and past the wood support. On the low E string, I'm going to come backwards from the nut 1.5 inches, and I'm going to make a mark. Now this part's a little tricky. This diagonal line right here, that's dictated by the geometry. So what we have to do is we have to figure out how it's going to lay out. I'm going to take my 6-inch rule, I'm going to lay the very start of it, that 1.5 mark on that low E string. I'm going to move it up until 4.75 or 4 3/4 intersects the high E string line. This is very, very important that it lays out this way. We have that mark at 4 3/4, we'll make a straight line there. That gives us that diagonal, but that still doesn't give us everything that we need. That string, as it comes up, it needs to hit to the right of the tuner. If I drilled a hole right where that intersection is the string's gonna come up and it's gonna have to kink off to the right just a hair to be able to get around the tuner. In order for it to sit on the right side of the tuner, what I need to do is offset the hole. To do that, I have to find the diameter of my tuner shaft. Typically, you can go with about 200 thou. What I'll do then is I'll divide 200 thou in half. That's gonna give me 100 thou. I will mark a parallel line to the left of that diagonal line that I've already made. From there, I can lay out that low E. I can measure 0.95 between each of the strings. That should land every tuner. From there, I will mark another line parallel to that second diagonal line, but it's going to be 0.5 away. That represents the side of my headstock. That's the geometry that allows us to land the tuners where they need to be so that the strings come up for a straight string pull. The right side of the headstock is the side where you've got some creative freedom. That's why you will see a Stratocaster is different from a Telecaster, but that left side diagonal geometry is exactly the same. You'll find it on pretty much anything from Fender. It's the same thing that you find on Novo, on Tom Anderson, Sir, Don Garage, everyone. That's how it works. 6 on a side, non-straight string pull. You really don't have a lot of rules here. Your tuner spacing should still probably be around 0.95 or even an inch. You just need enough room for all 6 tuners to fit, and that parallel line needs to be a 1/2 inch out from wherever you're going to drill the tuner hole. We come up and we can kink the string over just a little bit to the left, mark off all of our tuner holes for 0.95 all the way up, and then from those spots measure over 0.5, draw a line. That gives us the side of our headstock. Then we can draw the right side however we'd like. For 3 on 3 non-straight string pull, we can come up however far you would like. The thing that you have to pay attention to is that the string itself isn't going to bang into the next string. When I do a headstock like this, these D and G string tuners can't be too far to the outsides, because as the string comes up and over the nut and kinks off to the side, it could bang into the A and B tuners. it has to be in far enough so that it doesn't do that. This side of the headstock is 0.5 away from where I'm going to be drilling those tuner holes. I laid out the ones here for the Admiral. From the back of the nut, it is 1.5 inches from here to here. I then drew a perpendicular line. It's another 1.5 inches from that line toward the top of the headstock. I drew another perpendicular line, and one more, another 1.5 inches, another perpendicular line from D to G, and from E to E. From there, I can lay out the side of my headstock, 0.5. The top of the headstock is where I can be a little bit more artistic and I can do something with. 3-on-3 straight string pull. Okay, remember I talked about this diagonal line here on a 6 on a side straight string pull. That is dictated by geometry. Well, if you're going to try to do 3-on-3, you're going to end up with 2 diagonal lines, one on each side. That's going to be dictated by geometry. This gets real tricky. The reason for that is by the time you get all the way up here to the D and G, you may not have enough room for both of those tuners to live in that real estate. So spacing them out at 0.95 may not work out. Can, but man, does it get really tight. A great example of this is the EVH Wolfgang. You look at that particular headstock, it is 3-on-3 straight string pull. But look at the back of the headstock. The D and G string tuners are super close. Also doesn't leave you much room for artistic freedom whenever it comes to headstock design. From the PV Wolfgang all the way up through EVH version, both 3-on-3 straight string pull. Notice, they don't differ too much except for the very top of the headstock. PRS is almost straight string pull, but it splays just a hair. And on older versions, the D and G tuners on the back of the headstock would grind off half the screw mount. They would share one screw between the two tuners. Now that we have our headstock on here and we've decided what we're going with, we can determine later whether or not we're going to turn this into a traditional scoop style like you would find on a Fender, or if we're going to go with a tilt back like you'd find on a Gibson, Jackson, Kramer, what have you. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much to the 100% of the people that are here. Thank you particularly to the 37% that are subscribed. And for the other 63%, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. That helps me out a ton. Okie dokie. Next video, we're gonna have a look finally at body design. How the bridge lays on, control layout, neck pocket, pickups, body shape. How do we account for wire passages? All of that. We will finally have the guitar drawn. Can't wait to see you.